And hopefully we'll entertain you enough despite the warm temperatures in this small space. My name is Dr. Heidi Larson. I teach here in the counseling department. And we have amazing people here to present, so I'm going to have them each introduce themselves, and then we'll get started.
Sarah Lynn, and I'm in the middle of my master's program for counseling.
Hi, I'm Megan Damler, and I'm also in the middle of my master's program for school counseling, interning at B.I.O.N.I School.
I'm Donna Putman, also in the middle of my master's in school counseling, as well as interning at B.I.O.N.I School.
I'm the old gal. I'm Michelle Sinclair. I'm the principal at B.I.O.N.I School. I've been there since 1985, so seen a lot of changes and looking forward to sharing some of those with you.
You can come on up. I have to see right here for you. Okay, so what we're going to talk to you a little bit about today is the B.I.O.N.I program. We wore a couple of the shirts. The students at the school designed the shirts just so that you can take a look at them. B.I.O.N.I stands for Believe It or Not, I Care. About 4 years ago, I went to a conference in Minneapolis where they had the National School Counseling Association conference, and there I met Sandy Austin, who was the woman who created B.I.O.N.I in a small town in Colorado. And the reason why, as a school counselor, she created the program was they had 3 consecutive suicides. And she recognized that there were pockets of kids that were being left unnoticed, untouched. Their needs were not being met. And she said, how can I do that? I can do it through leaders at the school. Thus the development of B.I.O.N.I. So when I was there, I was like, oh my gosh, can we take this back to Central Illinois? Can we really do it here? And so I set up an appointment to meet with Michelle Sinclair and Dee Piercy, one of the school counselors there. And I was blessed because they said yes. And so that was the creation of B.I.O.N.I. Sandy's teams were a little bit different than ours, and Michelle had suggested creating a needs assessment from the teachers, the staff, to say, what do we need at Mattoon High School? And these were the 4 teams that were created. 1, we wanted to mentor freshmen. I don't know if you can think way back to when we were freshmen and what that experience was like, but we wanted to help them sort of integrate into the community of high school, not only just become part of Mattoon High School, but really flourish there. And we knew we could do that through upperclassmen. Number 2, we created an extended absence team. So those kids who miss more than 3 to 5 consecutive days, or they're out with appendicitis, et cetera, how do we help them come back to school when you missed 5 or 7 days of calculus or an honors course? The 3rd team is the grief team. I don't know what your experience is in life, but when I lose someone that I love and care about, it's hard to just get up the next day after my 3 bereavement days are over and go back to life the way it was before. And so we wanted to make a difference in the school for not only the students who had a significant loss, but also the people who worked in the building. It didn't matter if they were a building service worker, if they were staff, but to help them. And then the 4th team was transfer students, students who come to Mattoon. Maybe you remember this from your school, but kids move, the mobility from Charleston to Mattoon, from yoga to Mattoon. So how do we help them become accepted into Mattoon School? Not only for a place that they can do well, but that they can call their school. So the B.I.O.N.I team currently is made up of 90 juniors and 30 seniors. Ideally, we wanted a split, 45, 45, or something like that. But this is the first year that our juniors actually received the mentoring program when they were freshmen. And that's the most exciting part. So the anxiety I had is either they're going to love it and want to come back and be the mentor, or they didn't have a good experience and would they come out? And guess what? They came out in droves. And so we have 90 juniors who said, I really made a difference in my life, or I thought there were some things that we could do better, and I want to be that person. And so that's why our juniors sort of overshadow some of our seniors. The recruitment were teacher recommendations. All the students are nominated by their staff, and they had to get so many votes in order to be invited to be a mentor into the B.I.O.N.I program. Because we wanted not just the popular kids, we didn't want just the bright kids, we wanted the kids who had character. And so they were well-rounded, they were balanced, and so the teachers and staff. And it's also important because they bought into the program, right? They have a voice in who they're nominating to represent the school from leaders. There's currently 32 faculty and staff that are involved that have an intricate part in making B.I.O.N.I successful, and that's key. We need to have teachers who are student-centered who want to help make this successful. I have 4 graduate students. Heather Lee is not here today, she had a conflict, but these 3 ladies along with Heather really are the backbone to the program. They're the ones that make it happen every single day. And it's really exciting, it's an amazing opportunity that we're able to collaborate with them too. Alright, so leadership training, we also knew that students needed some preparation or training in order to become a leader. And so it's a required 3-day training in the summer. And we all know how special summer is. And so it's already telling that these young people at 16 and 17 are willing to give us 3 of their summer days. So they come for 3 days, and we have a curriculum. We talked to them about what are the characteristics that espouse what a leader should look like. But also we bring in keynote speakers from the community, people who are really demonstrating what leadership looks like so they can learn from them. And we think that's pretty important. So we put up there's the Lakeland president, Mr. Bullock came. We also had the YMCA CEO. There's a variety of people. This was our 3rd training this summer. There's team building activities because hopefully when you have a B.I.O.N.I.C program or a mentoring program, you have students from all different groups. You have athletes, you have people from band, you have the creative students, you have the people who are maybe who are the more popular students, and we want them all to gel together for the same mission, which is to help students in the school. And so that was really an important part of this team building activity. The educational element, those are just some examples of the curriculum that we teach in the summer.
So some of the benefits of B.I.O.N.I.C, speaking with Mrs. Sinclair, she was talking about it at Mattoon High School, the lack of student leaderships throughout the school. And so when she noticed that many of them weren't stepping up for the roles, and then through the B.I.O.N.I.C program, team members will gain invaluable leadership and mentoring skills, which also trickled into other avenues like sports, clubs. People are stepping up to be student leaders as well. So it's throughout the whole entire school, not just the B.I.O.N.I.C program. And then B.I.O.N.I.C will equip the Mattoon High School with new leaders that will be trained to take initiative in the school during difficult times. That's kind of what we did through the leadership training. And some of the characters like empathy and building that character would help the students through those difficult times. And the B.I.O.N.I.C students will be able to recognize, plan, and execute a necessary course of action when fellow students are in need. That's through mentoring, the extended absence, the grief, and when students are transferring in. We're really excited for the first time, I'm kind of skipping though, but Mattoon Rotary Club sponsored B.I.O.N.I.C. So that's also getting out in the community. They're seeing the worth of the program and they're buying in as well. We also collaborated with administration, faculty, students, YMCA, and of course Eastern Illinois University. B.I.O.N.I.C decreases expulsion, bullying, and other negative behaviors that could affect students according to research, and we'll kind of talk about the data later in the presentation. And then could empower you to make a life-changing impact on someone's life. And we see that daily when we work with the students on our teams, in the hallways, in the lunchroom. It's made a pretty big impact. So freshman mentoring, Heather Lee is the team leader for this program, or this team, but there's 75 mentors. Here's some fun pictures. They actually just did this on Thursday. They decorated their mentors, so all the freshmen got to have a little fun. It was really exciting to see all the interactions between the freshmen and their mentors. The freshmen, when they first come in, they receive candy, a card that everyone signed, a pencil. All the mentors have signed a pencil, lanyard. They show them around the school, show them where their locker is, because sometimes when you're an incoming freshman, you just like are in a swarm of students and you have no idea what's going on. So by the mentor showing them around, they kind of have an idea. They do a freshman icebreaker before the school starts, and so the mentors have also worked with them with kind of showing them around. So when they come the first day, they don't have that anxiety, that apprehensive, and they know that they have a mentor if they have any questions. And then they also, Thursday during lunches, for the first 10 to 15 minutes of lunch, they cover many different topics with their mentors. They do activities. This was one of them, obviously, but they do a lot more. And then they eat lunch together. So per mentor, there could be 4 or 5 freshmen, and they all sit together at lunch. And that way, they can meet other freshmen that they may have not talked to, and that kind of builds friendships for them around the school as well.
I'm going to interject here too. The way that this works then is when it's lunchtime for the freshmen, there are about 25 freshmen that all go to a specific classroom, and in that classroom there is a teacher, and then their mentors are in there. So I may be one of the mentors, and then I have my 5 freshmen. So we kind of huddle up, and there is a set curriculum, and everyone knows what that curriculum is because we meet monthly with the mentors and their advisor in the classroom, the freshman teacher that's in there with them, and they go through that curriculum so they're prepared. We talk a lot about don't just show up and wing it. You know, if you're like, oh, what are we doing? You know, the kids are not going to respect you. And we talk about how sometimes in the classroom that happens when your teacher's not prepared, how it makes you feel. So it's really important that you know that curriculum and that you're prepared for each, especially that first 2 weeks, and then each Thursday thereafter. So then once that time period's up, they walk them all down and they have reserved seating in the cafeteria. So you guys are table 1 and you're table 2. The mentor centers themselves in the middle and they continue having that facilitating conversation, basically. Okay. So just a little more on that. Sorry.
Oh, no. And they do that for the first 2 weeks each semester, and then every Thursday after that. So it's every Thursday that they do the curriculum, and then they come and they eat lunch together.
And some of the feedback we receive is the first 2 weeks of school, you don't know where to sit. It's kind of like at church if you take someone else's pew. And so they really like that they have an assigned seat, that they know where they're going. They're not sitting by themselves. They're not confused. They learn how to do the lunch line, which is a big deal for students. And so that first 2 weeks of each semester, they sit with them. Because in January, we realized the first year, we have to reshuffle. Because everybody's schedule changes. Not only do the juniors and seniors, their schedule changes, but so do all the freshmen. So they actually get assigned a new mentor in January. So the first 10 days of school, they sit with their mentor every day, both the fall and spring semester. This is our own footage, so it's not as good as some of the professionals, but we wanted you to hear from mentors what they said our very first year, and these were juniors and seniors. What did they say about being a mentor? So let's see. I want to make sure we have enough volume here.
Can you tell us about your experience as a freshman mentor?
Oh, well, it's been really nice to be a freshman mentor and help some of the kids out because it's really cool whenever I go in the hallway and they'll recognize my face. And the first week I was really nervous and kind of unsure how they would think of me, but it's been really cool to get to know them.
It's strange at first because you don't really know how it's going to turn out and what kind of kids you're going to have and how they're going to get along with each other. But after the 2 weeks are over, you feel like you have a connection with them and you just kind of want to go back every Thursday to see them again and have a meeting.
Well, now that we've worked out like these 2 weeks, like I see them in the hallway and they're like, oh look, it's Ty, or I just like getting to know the people and just making that connection.
She's told me that we were friends, so we wouldn't be friends if it weren't for this. Which was a really big change for me because she told us about me at first that she didn't like me and she never wanted to come. And she hardly ever came at first, and then she started showing up and told me that we were friends.
It's been amazing. They've been awesome. I just really love them. All of them are like my best friends.
I love it. I get to help freshmen. That is something I love. I love helping people. So getting to help freshmen understand the high school and how everything is, it's a nice program. I would have loved to have it when I was a freshman.
Most rewarding part is just learning how to become, how to understand people better and how to accept others for what they are and what they do.
I like that I can go down the halls and like see my freshmen and be able to talk to them and they'll want to talk to me and tell me stuff about their day. And it's really cool. And then like if they have teachers that I used to have, I can give them advice and stuff like that.
The most rewarding part, the fact that I did get a new group of friends, I'd have to say that's the most rewarding part.
I think it's nice that you have a bunch of different groups come together and they're not mean to each other. They're all supportive and they're all curious to what the other person is doing and if they want to join it. And I think that's really nice, and I kind of wish that we did that when I was a freshman, because I know for a fact that sitting at the lunch table waiting for somebody else who didn't have anywhere else to sit was kind of boring and sad. So I think it's really great that these girls aren't going around sitting by themselves and just looking for somewhere to sit, that they know that they can sit with any of them and feel comfortable enough to stay there and talk and all this other stuff.
In what ways do you feel you are benefiting by being a part of the B.I.O.N.I.C team?
I feel like it's making me a better person in order to instead of helping people. But I think it's helping me with getting to know people, getting to know people on a one-on-one level, that I can be like, hey, you need help with this, I'm here to help you. Or, hey, you're having a rough time, I can help you. If you need anything, you know that you can come to me. I want to be here for you. And that's gotten me comfortable with talking to other people. So B.I.O.N.I.C has helped me. Everything that, all the activities that I am in, they've helped me with B.I.O.N.I.C, and B.I.O.N.I.C has helped me with my other activities that I'm in. It's just great. I love this program.
One of my favorite parts of hearing from the students is because they've never led necessarily people who maybe didn't want to be led, and lots of different kinds of people. And so you hear them say what it's like to be a leader, and the stretches and the growing pains and some of the challenges at 16 and 17 to lead other people. And that just makes me so proud of them. All right, on to extended absence.
So the extended absence team, right now we currently have about 15 mentors. And so the meaning behind extended absence is, like Dr. Larson said in the beginning, if students are gone for like 3 to 5 days and they're returning back to school, it could be an illness, it could be a surgery, and also it could be they just missed school. We welcome them back, we give them a mug and we give them some candy and we give a card that's signed. If they do have a surgery and they allow us to come to the hospital, we can make those visits as well to let them know that we're still thinking about them and that we care about them. And then the other part of it is we gather homework and other classwork, sometimes make home hospital visits, as I said, and then we do tutorials. So mentors assist students in subjects they are struggling with during 7th hour. And so if a student is referred by a teacher or they just need to get some extra help from missing class, there's mentors in those classes to work with them, like a peer mentorship. And so a lot of our students that are in the tutorials, I've noticed, have started to work with one-on-one students. So then that kind of builds that mentorship and that trusting relationship as well that translates out into the school as well, so that they know that they're not just here for them emotionally, but also academically as well.
And to give you a little bit of how that works, our students basically are done with school at 2:43. We have about 100 kids. We have 1,050 kids, just so you know, 9 through 12. Most of our students are done at 2:43. We have about 100 who take a period 7. So during that time from 2:43 to 3:30, teachers are in their rooms helping students before school, after school, during their lunch, whatever it takes. And that's why I felt the big need too to have a program like B.I.O.N.I.C, because our teachers are tapped out. We needed another resource to help our kids, and that was our kids. So anyway, that structure is already in place to where the teachers are in their room and then the tutors go in and help specific teachers in areas that they feel comfortable. Okay.
Okay, I'm the leader of the transfer team at Mattoon High School, and this year we approximately have 25 mentors and 35 transfer students thus far. So from the beginning of the semester until now, there's about 35, which is a lot of transfer students. And these students could be transferring because they moved, because their parents might have gotten a divorce, custody changes between the family. So these students are really going through a hard time, and especially adding with those stresses, moving to a new school can cause students to not feel connected, not belong somewhere. So that's the importance of the transfer team. So what we do, when a new student comes to the school, they go to student services, they meet their mentor there. So the mentor has a mug for them, their schedule, a planner, a welcome kit. In the mug is a lanyard, a pencil, and they get a card. So that mentor will walk that student around for the first 2 days, show them their classes, introduce them to teachers, make sure they know where they're going. They also sit with their mentor and mentee at lunch the first 2 days. Because like Dr. Larson said, the lunchroom could be one of the scariest rooms for these new students. They don't know how to work the lunch line. It could be different from their previous school. So that's an important aspect about the transfer teams, making sure these mentors are walking their transfer students through the lunch line. Also, they show them their lockers, make sure they know how to open their lockers. Maybe that's the first time they've ever used a locker code before. So just making sure they know how to work that, as well as the classroom, lunch line, and the gym. In their welcome kit that they get from their mentors on the first day, I provide them with my schedule if they were ever to need anything, if they ever were needing assistance adjusting to the school or had concerns or questions. They also get a sheet of dates for luncheons for the entire year. So we have monthly meetings with the mentors, and then we have a pizza lunch-in the last Friday of the month. So all transfer students and mentors are invited to this luncheon. It's to promote students to feel connected to mentors, meet new people, meet new friends, just somewhere to go to feel supported. So we provide them with a list of all the luncheons for that year. We also give them extracurricular activities. So they might not know what kind of activities Mattoon has to offer or who to go to for those activities. As well as the extracurriculars, we have a list of all the faculty, their room numbers, where the students can find them, as well as a map of the school. So the students really know how to get around. At the luncheons, they just have pizza, they talk to their mentors, and they also play icebreakers and games as well. So it's just a time for students to feel like they belong and they are supported at Mattoon High School.
So I work with the grief team of our school, and we have approximately 30 mentors. I don't know if we covered this, but in the training, the students are given an option to choose their first place team. For freshman mentors, it's really a heavy responsibility, so it depends on the teacher votes as well. But they can put in their first and second choice of what they would want to be a part of. And the grief team, I mean, it's a heavy topic, but it's the second largest team. We have approximately 30 mentors. And I asked my team, like, you know, what is it that brought you to the grief team? There's a lot of work after school, before school, during school, to reach out to the community. And approximately 60% of my current team said that they were recipients of pies themselves. So there's a lot of that empathy of them wanting to give back in the way that they've received as well. How it works for the grief team is students and faculty. Anybody in the school can refer if they hear of a loss within the family. We have these black boxes in primary locations like the cafeteria, the library, the student service office, and the main office. And a lot of these cards can come from like staff members. Mrs. Sinclair is so good about writing referrals. As soon as she hears them, she writes them in to secretaries. But even as the grief team has become more known in the community, the families are actually calling in to let them know that my child is going through this, and there's much more of that connection as they let the school know, like, we can partner with each other to support each other in that time. So what happens is the students, we receive the referrals and we make a phone call home. All of the stuff is done through the students. We empower them to do it. And it's nerve-wracking to call the family and say, we've heard about the loss in your family, but we're wondering if it's okay to come show our condolences to you. Really, like 97% of the time, they're very gracious in saying that you can come to our home. So we make the contact with the phone, and then on Monday nights, we go and meet at 6:45 after the extracurriculars are finished. Staff members come, sometimes the principal, Dr. Larson, other interns come, and we drive out to each home, and we deliver a pie, and we just say that, you know, we heard about the loss, and we really just want to express our condolences. Our average, the first year we had 89, the second year we had 87 pie deliveries. And I mean, as someone who's coming into this team, that's a large number of homes that they went to visit, of pie runs that were organized. But it's also pretty shocking because there were more referrals than that. There's a lot of loss within the school, and that's 85 families that would have gone unnoticed without this program. And even just this past week, we had a staff member who lost a stepbrother. And she's been in the school for 21 years, and she knows the program, she knows the routine, how it's done. And yet when we went there, I brought some students, and we went to visit her in the school, and she couldn't even help herself, and she just started crying, and she ended up writing us a card afterward, just saying, in the 21 years of working with her, I've never been so taken aback, I've never been so appreciated. And it's not that she's not appreciated, but it's just, it took, in the midst of that loss, to know that there was such a support of the whole school, of the students. I know for her, she was so happy to be a part of this school and thankful for this program. So.
All right, so this next clip, we interviewed some teachers the first year and said, what's happening in the school? What's your perspective? What have you noticed? One other thing, the transfer students, this would not surprise you. The #1 transfer mentor to help with the transfer students are kids who transferred in. They said, you didn't help us the way we needed it, so we're going to help them. It's great. You know, I've never been a transfer student at Mattoon High School, but they know changing for PE. There's some idiosyncratic things that you need to know about PE class. So they just make the best mentors. So let's see if these teachers say.
What's start off by you just telling me about your experience with B.I.O.N.I.C.
I've had freshmen in my room in their freshman mentoring groups, and it's just been really great to see them, freshmen come in and they're scared to death of high school, and so they aren't really used to they see each other in middle school, but they aren't really used to being in groups and seeing upperclassmen in there. So it's been really cool to see some of the upperclassmen I had last year kind of take charge and, you know, be the leaders in the group and show the little freshmen around, and kind of cool to see the freshmen throughout the semester and see how, you know, they've adjusted to being in mentoring and that kind of stuff. So I've seen a lot of really, really cool things going on with it, and being in there is really cool to see it too.
In your opinion, how have Mattoon High School students been affected by B.I.O.N.I.C.?
Well, I think we still have a few students who come in, and I've taught freshmen for many years, that some kids just aren't quite ready. It's a maturation process, and you know, all kids, you know, we have that preconceived things that we look at, whether it's walking into a class or walking into high school. And some kids are definitely just uncomfortable and feel like they're left a little bit out there on an island. So I think, you know, probably what it's done is help those kids become a little bit more comfortable with their settings, their interactions with other students, especially maybe some of the upperclassmen, and sort of have mended that to make it just a little bit more enjoyable experience for everybody involved.
How have the faculty and staff at Mattoon High School been affected by B.I.O.N.I.C.?
Well, I think we've all been affected by the positive things and we maybe don't even recognize it. And especially for those teachers who aren't, you know, a part of the mentoring or don't have freshmen, that's a lot of our staff actually. A really good thing that happened was that during one of our faculty meetings, we had some of the mentors come and talk about their experiences, and it was cool to watch the other staff members because, you know, I've been a part of things, so I kind of know, but they didn't, and they were just agog, really. After those kids left, they were just like, oh my gosh, I cannot even believe, you know, and just had nothing but positive things to say.
How has the school culture in general been affected by B.I.O.N.I.C.?
I think it's brought us together more. I think you see more collaboration between teacher and student, and then student to student more often. Now, I don't remember seeing that in the past years where there's been, one teacher can tell one student something and then that's it. Now we tell a student something and it seems like that student goes and tells every other student, and I think that kind of picks it up a little bit and kind of brings a nice wholeness to the school. And I have enjoyed this year more, and I don't know if it's because of B.I.O.N.I.C. or if it's just my 4th year teaching, but in my short little lived career of 4 years, I think it's just improved. I feel more at home at school, and I think it's because the kids have that upperclassmen we've got to look towards.
Can you speak to any maybe personal experiences or personal stories with B.I.O.N.I.C.?
I think for me, more than anything, being in the room at lunch when the mentors and the freshmen get together and watching their interactions and watching growth over time. Speaking from first semester, I had a lot of students that I knew from class personally on both sides of that, and just watching them at first be unsure of each other and slowly warm up to where at the end, and they were conversating and talking about a lot of different things, school-related, not school-related, and to see those friendships grow, that said a lot to me. That was really cool.
What is one of the biggest benefits of B.I.O.N.I.C.?
I think the social interaction, the support system of the older student to the younger student. It's different from your peers. It's somebody, again, that you can look up to as that role model, somebody that you can see in the hallway besides your peers that you can say hi to, somebody that you can go to if you have problems, somebody that you can go to to vent. I've seen all those things go. I've seen mentors bring students out of their shyness. I've seen mentors include students who might not normally be included in social interaction. I've seen mentors nicely and in a friendly way put students in their place, which is kind of nice. It's not a teacher that has to do that. And so I think all that, I think is a positive. I would absolutely recommend it. You know, I've heard of mentoring programs in other high schools.
but I've never seen one that actually panned out like this one. So yes, I think it's an excellent program.
All right, so we'll talk some data. We've been providing you with a lot of qualitative information of self-reports and interviews. By the end of the day, these numbers are what help us to not stay stagnant as a program, and we can continue to find areas of improvement. And it also even helps with, I would say, like finding our community to understand the numbers of what the impact is going on. So we do a pre and post survey for mentors and mentees. And it's designed to really just help, like I said, evaluate and continue to improve upon the program. We primarily use a Likert scale. As you know, students aren't wanting to do surveys all the time, so we keep it short enough that they're willing to do it, but we also have enough information that we can really find the information that we need. And then each student's encouraged to be honest, of course, and anonymity is promised in the survey program. Okay, so some of the areas that we're concerned about wanting to improve upon is do you feel supported and encouraged by a mentor? And as you can see, at least half of the program, half of the students say that they do feel supported by their mentor. And then, we have some room for improvement here as well, but every year we're working on that, on how to teach the mentors to be supportive. When a freshman's not speaking at a luncheon, how can we show support even when they're not refusing it?
And sometimes the ones who need it the most are the toughest ones, toughest to love. They make it really difficult on their mentor, so they're going to say they hate it, even though 2 years later they'll come back and say, well, it was okay. So we've seen some of that.
Yeah. Extracurriculars is a huge push, in any school. It can help break apart like peer clusters or help people to really feel more involved in the school. So a lot of the push from freshman mentors and transfer mentors is to help students feel more involved in clubs and organizations, letting them know I'm a part of the band, I'm a part of the soccer team, and giving them that information. So we're really trying to make a push for this, for more of that information to be spread. And right now it seems pretty split, but it's an area of improvement that we can continue to build upon. Has your mentor displayed a supportive leadership style? This is, you can see, a large majority does say that they feel like the mentor has leadership. And like we said, even when we interview for some of these leaders, it's the first interview they've ever been through. And as much as we are going to the people who are transfer students or freshmen or people who have lost someone, our focus too is making the change through these students. We're really empowering these young leaders to change the school climate. And so we're very happy with this data, and we're going to want to continue to improve upon it as well.
I'm the data guru at the high school, and one thing I track, and I put some copies up here, we've been doing this I've been principal for 7 years, and I was assistant for 5 years before that, and 21 years as a math teacher. There you go, data. But really important to look at, how is this affecting our attendance? How is it affecting grade point averages and positive incentives that we offer? We have seen a huge spike in attendance at the freshman year. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at the data that I have up here, really more than I ever have. Obviously, we averaged over 95% a month for freshmen. Our high school overall last year was 93.7%, and the year before that was 93.5, and then 92, but in previous years it was in the high 80s. So for a high school to have an average attendance rate of 94%, it's huge, and it's the freshmen who are carrying us. Seniors, not so much. We're getting there, though. It is better. We have a positive incentive program. We started in the spring of 2011 talking about, okay, everything we do is consequential. So what can we do to reward the students who are doing the right things? And there was a little bit of resistance of that, especially from the old school people, like, hey, they should be doing these things anyway. But what happens is every day you attend, you get a point. Every day that you have no discipline, including a tardy, you get a point. If you have a GPA that's a 3.5 on a 5-point scale or higher, so you can't just get straight C's, you get 40 points per quarter. And then we give the college readiness benchmark tests, Explorer Plan, ACT, and for each college readiness benchmark you hit, you get 10 points. So the criteria has upped each of the years, which makes this data a little more interesting. But the first year we just said if you have 70% of the points, at the end of first quarter you get a pizza party. Second quarter we take you to a movie at AMC. They sell us the tickets for $4 a piece. Take them on a school day, it's a big deal. Took 12 buses to different movies. The third quarter we took them to Six Flags. They had to buy their ticket, but we got it at a discounted price of $22 and we gave every student a $10 bill. So that was the first year. And then the second year we upped it to where you had to have 70 for first quarter, 75 for second quarter, and 80 for the third quarter reward. Then the next year we said now you can't have any in-school suspensions, out-of-school suspensions, or truancies. And then this year we started with, in addition to those things, you also cannot be given a 1-period AER where a teacher said you're going to AER. If you're going to do that, then you're disqualified. So this data represents what percentage of our freshmen qualified through each year. So first quarter, the first year we had 74%, and we dropped to 71%. And then we were at 77% of our freshmen qualifying. And the interesting thing too is we had the last couple of years 275 freshmen, and the year before that was like 253. So there were more kids qualifying and there were more kids. Same thing second quarter, you can see the increase there even though the criteria were being increased. And then for third quarter, quite a bit of a jump there so the last 2 years we had mentoring. You can see that we dropped a little bit for third quarter, but then we had that huge spike last year. So kind of cool. Overall, these are the percentages of all students qualifying for positive incentives. It's a lot of kids. Seniors probably have some of the fewest because they tend to miss more school and get that little burnout going. But it's a great program, and our freshmen are doing really well with that. Then we have to look at discipline. Now, this is a lot of discipline, over 2,000 discipline referrals for freshmen. And remember, in that year, we only had 250-some freshmen. So that could be a tardy. If you're 5 minutes tardy to a class or under, you get a ticket. You get a 10-minute detention. So that, it could have been something like that. But you can see the big decrease over the last few years. 13, 14 was the first year for mentoring. And then the number of freshmen who got those referrals. So in 2011-12, we had about 185 students out of 250-some who got at least one discipline referral. And that's decreasing, a little over 140 now, but remember, there's 20 more students in that class. So seeing a lot of changes in terms of office referrals for students.
Okay, and then this is the qualitative portion of the survey data, and based on some of these responses, we looked at the surveys and picked out themes that we saw, as well as comments that were seen multiple times in the survey. And then this question asked, what do you appreciate about your mentor? So some commonalities were that she is friendly and a good example of an upperclassman. He's honest about everything and he is good at relating to us. And she is kind, supportive, and friendly. So those are some common themes that we saw. The next question, would you recommend that other high schools adopt a freshman mentoring program? If yes, why? And then if no, why? So yes, it helps us to make new friends and get involved with school-related activities. No, because that is what makes it special about our school.
That was repeated over and
sure.
over.
And it's not like they just said no because they didn't like it, but that was something that was special to them and they wanted to keep that part special to Mattoon High School. Yes, because freshmen come in here thinking that since they are new, they will get picked on all the time, but B.I.O.N.I.C changed that for me. And then our assistant principal said, I have had fewer problems with sophomores this year. Most of the disciplinary referrals I've been getting are from juniors and seniors.
Which demonstrates the carryover then into the next year.
And then these were some additional comments. Some people said, thank you for helping me when I had no clue what to do. And then this second comment, we have taken feedback from students from the surveys, and this is one area that we have taken feedback from them on. Usually during lunch, they would have to sit with their mentees the whole entire lunch period, but now the last 15 to 20 minutes, they're able to go to the gym. So this was, you guys are doing great, keep it up. And if we could play basketball after we're done eating, that would be so amazing. So just saying we're taking that feedback from the students and continually trying to improve the program for the students as well. And then the last statement, I think you guys are doing a great job, but I wish we had more days with our mentors. And then this is an EIU video. It's an overview of the B.I.O.N.I.C program as a whole and giving you a look at it in action. It's specifically aimed at freshman mentoring and grief.
It is our last slide.
Yes.
I just want kids to feel like they belong. I think that's the overall thing that, you know, we want you here. You know, we're glad you're here. I think that's probably the overarching goal of the program for me. You know, it's not really about attendance. It's not really, although those things are nice. But if kids feel like they belong, then all those things are gonna fall into place.
So I was at a conference and a woman introduced the B.I.O.N.I.C program. And B.I.O.N.I.C stands for Believe It or Not, I Care, which was a mentoring program originating in a high school. And I was inspired and excited about what that might be like at Mattoon High School. I think that young people today need mentors that help them navigate an important transition like high school. The freshman mentoring program involves juniors and seniors who are called mentors, and each of them are paired with 4 or 5 freshmen. And their responsibilities include having lunch with them, meeting with them and doing a little bit of curriculum, and basically taking them under their wing and kind of helping them navigate Mattoon High School.
I think it's really cool because not only am I making 4 to 5 new friends, but they are also making 4 to 5 new friends.
You build a relationship every day when you come in. It's the little things. It's not one big defining moment. It's all the little things you do. And it's the way you treat them. It's the way you talk to them. It's the way you listen.
They share experiences, kind of ask questions, and also hopefully help influence in a positive way those freshmen. The second team is called the Grief Team, and the Grief Team was set up in order to help those individuals in the school who've lost someone. The purpose behind that is that when you lose someone in your life, after 2 days of taking your bereavement leave, you just come back and sort of life just happens as it normally was. And we wanted something different, a different feel for the students and the staff to say that someone really does care and that we notice that you might be hurting or this might be a difficult time for you.
We take pies to people's houses if they've had a loss or somebody in their family is hurting. We go there to let them know that we're here for them if they need somebody to talk to and that we care all the way around. It's just an absolute great feeling. I know that I'm doing something that's going to make somebody else's day.
It's better than I thought it was going to be. And it's better for me, it's better for the school, it's better for the students. And it's an amazing experience for my graduate students.
Dr. Larson heard about it and said, yes, I want to do this at Mattoon High School, and brought it to Mattoon High School, and it happened. I think sometimes things seem so big, and so I feel like it's taught me that I can dream and not to maybe hold back or think that it's not possible or that I couldn't do it or be a part of something so great. It's been really amazing to be a part of this program, and I feel blessed to be a part of it. I feel like it's enriched my experience as a graduate student and as a school counseling intern, and I've really seen it change the school culture, I think, at Mattoon High School.
So I think the most important part of B.I.O.N.I.C is to make sure that every student, every staff member feels important and that they believe here someone genuinely cares about them. every time I see that, couldn't be any more prouder of the students and just how, honestly, high school students change lives every single day. Thank you, Mrs. Sinclair. Like, it would never have been possible without you. So just publicly, I want to thank you and the students, having graduate students who believe in a program and go every day to change students' lives. And it's kindness, it's the ability to just show someone that you care that matters. So thank you for being here. If you have questions,